listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This, however, is Frank Skinner, and I found Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane here at my desk. Great news. And you can text our show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website.
I like the idea we were found. Just
we were all found.
We're foundlings.
We weren't booked and fulfilled our professional duty. We were found, just discovered. Oh, they'll do.
Well, it's a sort of theatrical term, isn't it, being discovered? Something great about it. It is like being found amidst the bulrushes. Is that where Moses was found?
I don't know, but it's lovely and biblical.
Yeah,
8, 12, 15.
Yeah, I think I'm
where
fairly
was Moses found?
I'm fairly confident. Don't waste your 50 pences. I'm fairly confident.
Good point.
Moses was in the bulrushes.
It's one of your areas of interest, isn't it?
It is, yeah. My specialist subject, Moses.
That's his hobbies: writing letters, reading Moses.
Writing
Nazarene.
letters.
Yeah. I used to put that to my pen pals. What are your hobbies? Writing letters, reading.
I'm afraid I was one of those people who used to put stuff like walking, films, like brackets, as long as they're on television. Interests. What challenging or exciting interests have you put in the section of the form that says interests? 8, 12, 15.
Yeah.
Don't include reading.
No.
Well, some people put things like friends. Talking about
They?
it's not an interest, is it? I suppose one could have interest in. I tell you what, I'd like to. I used to listen to a thing when I was a kid called the Billy Cotton Band Show,
Right.
and I had a dream that I was staying at Billy Cotton's house the other night with his
Did
wife. I don't mean with his wife in any. His wife,
Strange love rival.
Yeah, I'm guessing she's been dead between 30 and 50 years. But anyway. It reminded me, he did a breakfast show and he used to start like this. I'll give it a bit of space. Wakey wakey! And I think it is ultimately, no one's ever topped that as a way to start a breakfast show.
Like it.
Brilliant. And then it used to go into Somebody Stole My Girl with his band playing da-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na. But I don't know if he owns it, if it's copyright. They didn't have copyright in those days, did they?
I don't think so.
No, back me up.
Very modern.
Speaking of birds of prey, I held an eagle the other day.
Did you? Why did you get your hands on one of those?
I was at a fete, a local fete, and someone said to me, actually it was a journalist from the local newspaper, and they're always after a photo at a fete.
Yeah.
He said, could you hold that eagle over there?
Sorry to interrupt, Frank, but I like that they still have journalists at local paper, because I think they only have that in detective shows, a journalist at a local paper.
Well, in Broadchurch, I think the last series of Broadchurch, the paper more or less collapsed.
Spoiler alert.
Well, I think it's not the big reveal in Broadchurch.
Is there other surprises?
Yeah, never mind who killed. What happened to the paper? I've been worried about that for ages. The distribution was rock bottom. So I held this. Have you ever held an eagle on you? I mean, I had to.
How dare you? No.
I had to.
No.
You know me, any excuse to wear a gauntlet,
Yeah.
as we say in the S&M community. And
Do we?
yeah, is there a sort of bigger version of a gauntlet called a gaunt?
Oh.
No. As Gaunty.
No, but you know where you have things like "lut" on the end of a word?
Yeah.
Often means a smaller version.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of one.
Starlet.
Starlet, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It doesn't mean
Lovely.
that.
No.
Does it? Oh, well. What about hot now? So, so I held this thing. It was really, I could feel the arm muscles going.
Was it an actual
Right, it's
eagle?
quite a heavy thing.
It's an actual eagle. What do you mean it was an actual eagle?
Well, I just thought it might be one of the lesser ones.
He's one of these lookalikes that works the local
Well,
fights.
they were the lesser bird of prey than the eagle, aren't
There's
they?
a kestrel in a false beak.
Yes, that's what I would have thought, quite honestly.
No, this was an
Your
eagle.
eagles are quite hard to get hold of.
This-
Really?
Well, it was strapped down.
Also, I think recently we did sort of cliched photographs that you sometimes see in newspapers. is celebrity with bird of prey at local fates.
I don't know if that's
It feels like it should
that's
be.
a cliche.
I love it.
Oh, it is, Frank.
But I tell you, we looked at each other in the eye the way one does when you're very close to a bird of prey.
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Well, I thought, I wanted to say to it, look, I've lost 1.5 stone recently. I could help you. He looked rough as.
What do you mean? What did he look? He hadn't slept.
He looked like he'd been sleeping rough. He did look really like dishevelled and
Oh,
Puffy eyes.
Need a pedicure, maybe?
like he'd been on a bed.
Nails are terrible.
Yes. Anyone owns an eagle? Congratulations.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
When you're ready, Frank, we have a whatever happened to suggestion.
Oh, lovely.
So this is from, I think it's 281. Good morning, all. Long-time reader. And, there's a bit of praise here. They refer to the quality of the show. I do apologise for that. Whatever happened to toys inside cereal boxes? I went down the breakfast aisle and not a single inedible lure anywhere.
Is that right?
In the mid-90s, I once got a watch in a box of Tesco Sugar Puffs.
Whatever happened to...
Well, I thought they were still around, you see.
Yeah, me too.
But I had, I'll tell you what I had, the first time I ever discovered Letraset. In shredded wheat, you used to get on the back, you'd get a nighttime scene, from maybe on top of a building in Gotham City.
Oh, yeah.
And then inside
yes.
you'd get these Batman, Robin and various felons.
Uh-huh.
And you just used to go over them with a biro and you could put them anywhere on the scene. It's
I remember
great.
that. I used to love that.
Other than that, I don't think I can remember a damn thing I've ever got out of a cereal box, and there must have been loads of them.
Yeah.
But I know they do settle, the ingredients do settle. If anyone's worried at home, they've been ripped off.
Yeah.
No,
Remember
that's
that.
just... But
What
I
have
think-
you had out of a cereal box by way of a toy? 8, 12, 15.
And well done on the watch.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they don't
Watch.
specify what kind of watch it was.
Oh, are they on about the Hopalong Cassidy?
No,
they got it in
say
their
that
Tesco
in
Sugar
the
Puffs.
mid-90s, I got
Yeah.
a watch in a box of Tesco Sugar Puffs, which is,
A watch?
I mean, a great.
Now that's got that's like when they get a chicken's head in a bag of crisps.
Right.
Well, you think it was a mistake?
Foreign
Oh, that's
object
fine.
in
Was
food.
it still on the forearm?
A factory worker's watch fell in.
Yeah, that's someone who's chewed up by the machinery. Put any money on that.
A
What?
wedding ring.
Yeah, I didn't like that blood though all over the Rice Krispies. That was a weird flavour they tried. I must have had loads of stuff. I'm sad now that I can't remember other things that I've had out of
I definitely had
Oh,
stuff.
I used to get
can't
little
remember them.
figurines, I think.
figurines.
Yeah.
Choking
Plastic
hazard.
figurines.
Maybe that's what's happened
Figurines
to
are
them.
like gauntlets, you see, aren't they?
Choking hazard, no. Figurines were the least of the worries in my
Oh, no.
household.
Right.
Can I say I had a choking thing this week?
You?
I was talking to someone and I'd eaten a raw carrot.
Oh.
And I started the sentence, "What's up, Doc?" No, I didn't. And I was talking to him, and it went down what I believe is medically known as the wrong way.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I started, and you know when you get a really super choke, one of those.
No.
And every time I cough, bits of carrot were flying out
yeah.
of me. It's like some terrible technical hitch on Guinevere on lottery night. And it was so awful. I mean, it was that bit where you think this is it now, I'm going to die. And, you get a bit dizzy
Yeah.
when you're
Well, also,
choking.
if that was a soap, Frank, I would be making plans for your next show. Do you know what I mean? Whenever they have a coughing fit.
I don't know about you, but if somebody chokes in front of me as a choking fit, I never quite regard them with the same respect ever again. There's something so humiliating. A choking fit. Oh, I just think, get away from... I just think less of them because I've seen them having a choking fit. And so I was partly, even though I couldn't breathe, I was partly thinking, well, this person must be... I know, even mid-joking, even when I'm saying things like, oh, my God, can I get you a drink of water? Inside, I'm thinking, oh, come on, I don't want to see this.
It's like you've lost control.
It's just embarrassing, I think, and humiliating. Yeah.
And what about when you lose your voice and you go, sorry, it's gone down the wrong way?
When people start...
It's gone down the wrong way.
I think you need to go off somewhere if you're going to chat.
Like an animal to die.
People don't want to see it.
I mean...
Honestly,
it's the opposite of that, really.
It's
you
like
need
in
help.
the gorilla community, when you're not well, you have to go off somewhere.
Oh, the gorilla community, they're
so dignified, aren't they?
They are very dignified. You got to give them that.
Well, except when they've had blackcurrants.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
They go cray-cray.
But honestly, I can think of people now I know who I've seen choke. And,
Really?
And I think less.
Yeah.
Well, who is it?
Well, I'm not prepared to name names. I don't want to shout them up on the radio.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
So I'll tell you what I did this week. Remember that programme, I've Never Seen Star Wars?
Yes.
Oh.
It's all about things that you haven't done that most people have done.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what happened to it. Does it still exist?
Don't think so.
I don't think so, no.
Oh, soon. If they wait 10 or 15 years, they'll be able to have a series called I've Never Seen Star Wars. Anyway, I played my first ever game of Guess Who.
Did you?
Yeah.
Wow.
Passed me by completely, Guess Who,
You
as a
waited a
child.
while, didn't you?
When was it around? When would you say it was its golden age?
Well, it's been around a long time. When was it made, Guess Who? I'm going to guess here. I'd say I played it growing up in the 70s and 80s.
Did you?
Definitely, yeah.
Are we playing Guess When, Guess Who? Is that,
Guess it's a new game called Guess When.
Is it still the same, I wonder?
Guess When wouldn't be a bad game, would it?
Yeah.
Because how often do you think... the other day, I remember it was the 13th of July, it's my dad's birthday, and I think Julius Caesar's as well. And I said...
Oh, I'm glad you remembered his. You get so upset if you forget
Same
to give him
initials
a
as
card.
my dad, but we won't go into it. So I said... And I remembered it was the first Live Aid anniversary. So then me and Kat sat and said, well, when would that have been? I reckon 19... It's quite an enjoyable thing. So Guess When, you could just have big events and you had to put the date on.
Lovely.
If any game makers listening at home,
bit of fun.
you can have that.
So you've never played Guess Who?
No.
And what did you think of it?
Well, I played with Boz. In case you don't know, that's my 5-year-old child, and he told me how to play it. He'd played it at school.
Yeah.
But he's only played it a bit, so it was the blind lead in the blind. Well, the nearsighted lead in the blind.
Are they still the same? There was a couple of Charles Bronson, Britain's most dangerous prisoner, lookalikes.
There's that. Yeah.
A lot of moustaches in there.
But I think he hasn't quite got the hang of it. One of his, I think his second question was, do they look kind?
Right.
Which is, it's very open to interpretation, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, not really. I mean, the Charles Bronson lookalikes, I tend to say no.
Well...
But then if his interpretation is different, he could flip down all the ones that...
Well, exactly.
Oh, you're getting
stay
me
up.
technical now, love.
We are.
Very serious about my Guess Who.
We had a bit of a row about what constitutes a hat.
Did you?
I mean, I had no idea it was so complex. But it's a great game. I'd like review.
And there's a lot. All the women look a bit like Elton John in it, I find.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what women used to look like when I was a child. So maybe it is older than you.
Yeah.
Every mom, all my mates' moms look like Sir Elton John.
Yeah.
And nowadays they all look
think
like...
there'd be a modernised version of it.
Who do they look like now?
Mums.
Melanie Sykes is who they look like now.
Oh, that's a good one, Frank.
modern mom. Yeah. I'm glad I missed that. It'd have been too much, wouldn't it? It would have. I'd have evaporated.
Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Have we heard from the outside world?
We
as
have.
like to call it?
We've got various plates spinning. One is, I think you're asking about Guess Who. Hi, Frank. I found an original Guess Who in an empty house from the 80s.
Wow, this is a
Whoa,
bit-
let's break this
weird, isn't
down.
it?
Break it on
a
down.
Japanese ghost film.
That, or I'm reading the beginning of a Scooby-Doo episode, I
Yeah.
think.
Or was it? Was it the negative equity? Was that why it was
Could
empty?
be.
They'd done a midnight flit.
None of this is explained by 377. Maybe it will be in a further text from the 80s. Nowadays, it's much more flimsy, but still the same game. That's that. And 318 has said, the first toy I remember getting from a cereal pack was a small cardboard wheel, approximately the size of the top of a coffee mug, which had a serrated edge and was attached to a loop of elastic thread. The idea was to extend and relax the elastic to get the wheel spinning, at which point you would get a friend or family member to hold a piece of newspaper rigid and you would demonstrate the enormous cutting power of your saw
Oh, wow.
I love it when Rayman gets in touch.
to cut increasing layers of newspaper and also create an incredible noise. Endless hours of fun.
That sounds great.
That does sound good.
How many films have you seen when there's been someone on one of those buzzsaw things like
Yeah.
waiting?
Oh, well, the Batman and Robin was the classic, Frank.
It's in a Bond at least, isn't it? At least
Well,
one
I don't know.
Bond.
See, I get mixed up with the laser up the gusset.
Oh, do you?
Laser up the gusset, I know.
Well, there was a classic Batman and Robin.
Goldfinger.
Don't bring him up at this point. You and I were both used to watch, separately obviously, Batman and Robin with deadly serious expressions on our faces,
Exactly.
didn't we?
We didn't know. We didn't know in those
No.
days.
Tracy Spark says, I collected actual vinyl singles off the front of Kellogg's Frosties back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Really?
I vaguely remember that. Yeah, I think I might have had a Village People. It was red. There were sort of discs.
Were they once off the bat? Were they stuck to the outside
They
of the
were,
packet?
but they were more plasticky.
I suppose if you put them inside, you can get all the sugar would get in the groove.
want that.
You could put it in between cardboard and whatever that material is to hold the inner cereal. You know, that sort of plasticky.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
We'll probably have a text in saying what that's called, that.
Well, it's not quite plastic. I believe it's called.
Yeah,
It's a bit like I can't believe it isn't butter.
the inner bag.
Does Guess Who...
I certainly don't remember singles. What, 45 RPM singles?
Yeah.
Oh.
Frank, does Guess Who still have the blue sort of domino frames for the characters that you flip down?
It has doors
good.
that you close
Oh,
across.
okay. Oh, doors, okay.
Yeah. I once wrote to Dennis Law, the famous footballer,
Oh, yeah.
asking for his autograph. And he was doing some sort of thing with shredded wheat. And he sent me back like a little leaflet advertising shredded wheat that had got like his autograph printed on the thing. That was it.
Like junk mail. Like,
Rubbish. What kind of an autograph is that? A printed autograph on a shredded wheat promo
oh, that's...
flyer.
Yeah.
Still alive, Dennis Law. Thanks for that if you're listening. Well, I mean, a small child writes to you saying, I think you're a brilliant footballer. He didn't even play for West Brom. I just,
No, he's
Frank.
he transcended that.
I know that's bad, and I know I mention this a lot, but what about from Frank Bruno to Emma Love F. Bruno?
Oh,
Come on.
But I'm happy with F. Bruno.
yeah, but to Emma.
Oh, to Emma. Oh, I forgot that bit. Yeah, yeah, but it's an approximation of a very
Okay.
nice thought.
Okay.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Tracy Spark has sent us...
She's back again?
She's back
Sparker.
again. I appreciate this is a radio show, but she has sent us photographic evidence, just FYI, of the Kellogg's Frosties mega hits.
Okay.
Get Up Before the Night is Over was what it was called.
What's that, the record?
Yeah.
That she got?
Get up before the night is over.
Does
Yeah.
that mean work through the night? Is that like an all-nighter?
Get up before. Yeah, I suppose it could get up early. Not that there aren't that many pop songs with the message "get up early." Most of them are about
Party all night long.
It's mainly bought by postmen and milkmen.
Yeah, but it's good. I like the idea of the old early to bed, early to rise.
Fans of the shipping forecast.
Yeah.
That's excellent.
We've also had Rachel, who has texted 317. Hi guys, I once had a rubber popper that you turned inside out on the table and it would flip up in the air, and that was it. I once stuck it on my head, don't ask why, and it left the biggest red mark in the middle of my forehead, and my mum made me go to school where everyone took pleasure in taking the absolute mickey. I remember those things. They were a playground craze.
Is the idea that this was free in
I think
theory?
so, yeah.
Okay. I don't know what it means.
I think
I don't understand any of that at all.
Didn't you?
There was a rubber popper.
If you imagine like a rubber disc that you push in the middle.
I wonder where that was going. Yes.
You push in the middle so it's like a dome, and then you pop it on the table, and after a little while, the outer edge of the dome will force its way out.
I hate this bit. I don't understand
and then
it.
It's like
basically it flies
World.
up off the desk. It flies up
No,
off
I've
the
never
desk.
seen one of those. I'm sorry. I know what you're
describing it for
thinking. Yeah, but you're
One of the
saying it
most
as sort of a
awkward moments of
come
my
on,
life.
come on,
Just
you know.
describing it. I'm trying to use the
You're
most
angry.
descriptive
Why are you
words.
so angry with me?
I think you're angry, in fairness.
I'm
as
not
well.
angry. I'm on the defensive. It's different.
I'm not angry.
I don't know. I'm worried that also.
Why?
I don't like the sound of it. It sounds a bit like you get from a chemist something. There's been some
Is it a bit
terrible.
top drawer?
That is a good comparison.
Is she
what you're
thinking,
making
oh no,
there.
I said featherweight, I meant boots. No, I don't. No,
I'm
stop
glad that bit's of the show's over. It's a bit funny.
If it is, I might just read it again.
I think I'm going to set up a texting. You know,
yeah.
where they do on
Okay.
proper radio.
Yeah, go for it. What are you thinking?
I was seeing a friend. Now the fez has gone down.
You don't think, what have you ever had off cereal boxes? This is texted for today.
Oh, where was Moses
yeah,
found?
I thought it was going
Yeah,
quite well.
I stopped that one early on. I pulled up on that because I know where Moses was found. Oh, thanks very much for
Okay.
asking.
So do you want to wait to do the texting?
Well, no, the fairs, in case you don't know, if you're new to the show, I don't imagine you'll be with us much longer. But the way that the producer tells me to shut up is she puts the small fairs, the sort of Tommy Cooper type fairs,
Yeah.
the ones with the black sort of horsehair fringe on the fairs, not the plain fairs that you also get. There isn't just one fairs, in case that's what
Yeah.
you're thinking at home.
Well, someone's been playing Guess Who, obsessed by hats.
So that's in front of me, so that means I have to stop this link. Unfortunately, it's been in front of me, I would say, a minute and a half, and I'm still talking.
Okay.
So it's not a perfect system,
No.
but it's. I'm going to stop now.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Yeah. So I was going to a thing, and I had a text from a friend who I was meeting. We were going together,
Yeah.
and the text I wrote it down actually. Hold on.
Okay.
Very good.
I may be late. There's a 3-line whip at the House of Lords.
Oh, I like
I
that.
think that's probably the best excuse for being late I've ever been given by anyone.
That is good.
And I've got to be honest, I can sense that person loved sending that.
Yeah.
Well, I hope
There was
so.
a certain amount of enjoyment there.
But, I mean, you can't argue with that.
Yeah.
You can't say, well, never mind that.
no.
Yeah.
They weren't too late, but, you know, they did their duty. Respectamundo.
I mean, I don't
So-
fully know what a 3-line whip is, but I know that it's a thing.
Well, it can be many things, but in a political thing, it's because you've got to vote on party lines.
Right.
Because it's going to be tight.
Yeah.
So they need to get everyone in and they all need to vote.
Very.
Well,
There you go.
Ed Burns was late for this show once. Do you remember when we used to have guests? And his excuse was that his car fell in a ditch,
Oh, that's right.
which we thought was something of a 19th century excuse.
What about my worst day? I think I don't lie very much at all, but I'm sort of bad at it and anti it. But I did one on a first date. I was late which is bad on
Yeah.
the first date. But I decided, and it's always good to turn a negative into a positive if you can. I said the reason I was late is I had to stop to sign quite a few autographs. Thus bigging myself up and, getting out of the
Very
being
good.
late thing. Brilliant.
How did that go? Did that go all right? I would think it would.
Well, they're still together.
What, the first date?
Yeah.
We went out for...
I mean, the excuse, the lateness excuse.
Oh, yeah.
It feels like that would work.
I got a
I think that's a good
bit of
excuse.
sympathy for
Yeah.
it. Oh, that
Yeah.
must...
Brilliant.
Doesn't that drive you mad? No, it's all part of the job. It's all
Yeah,
that.
yeah, you get to do your
and then-
everyman routine.
So then you're popular.
Yeah.
And also,
Man of the people.
Yeah, you're good with it. You're not
Yeah.
one of those nice people.
Excellent.
And then
Win-win.
I think I probably said that I don't understand why celebrities moan about it. It's lovely. So now I'm lifting myself above. Oh, it's all plus.
You're ticking so
very-
many boxes
Oh,
already.
Very good.
lovely.
And that's before she's even seen your sparkling personality.
Yeah, exactly.
Is that what you call it?
Yeah, I think we went out for about a year. Probably on the
Did
strength
you?
of that one lie.
Yeah.
One big lie.
One big lie like Lance Armstrong.
What's the best lie you've built a relationship on? 8, 12, 15.
I get a text from Lance Armstrong here.
What I would like, though, as people to text in is best excuses for being late they've heard or
Yeah.
used.
Well, I was a child at... I was a child. I was at school once and I was asked why I was late. And in the same way that I think your friend would have enjoyed that, I remember distinctly I said I was on a night shoot. I'm sorry.
Oh, very
Oh.
good.
and
wow.
I loved saying that.
Very good.
Oh,
Did they know what a night shoot was? Did they imagine you were after grouse?
yeah. I don't think they didn't. They just went, right, OK.
They
thank
did
you."
night shooting. It's not like night fishing. People don't go out and shoot at night, do they?
No, they don't, because all the
What
birds
about
would be
owl
asleep.
hunters?
I don't think there are such things.
What?
Why don't you ask some of your
I think
birds
they
of
might
prey
be protected
friends?
species.
Owls are a protected
I think
species.
so. I mean, I'm just guessing.
I should have picked the owl up. There's an owl. Oh, I did pick the owl up. I picked an owl up as well.
What do you mean?
When I did the eagle,
Oh, I see.
I don't mean on a first date, and I told her I'd been signing autographs. Then we went out
And
for
an
a year. Yeah, I went out with an owl for a year. I just couldn't cope with the late nights. Absolutely exhausting.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 8 12 15, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Do it.
I think Emily might have just hurt herself, Frank.
In absolute agony. That's a new station.
What's happened?
We're in this new studio and it's quite badly designed.
Hey, you can't say that.
Hey.
I love it, bar one element, the massive metal leg in between mine.
Oh.
Yeah, sorry about that.
I think, if I may slow this down and just describe it, I think Emily's done that thing of, when you sort of wheel your
When you get the leg.
chair underneath the desk.
Yeah.
So she's done that at speed and then found...
Oh, you're joking.
Yeah, I
Thanks for the footballers' tents.
think she's
Yeah.
driven into the
What she's done.
hidden leg.
Yeah, anyway, it's all fine now.
Was it a bumped knee? Is that...
Yeah, one of the most painful things that's ever happened to me, but there we go. Let's carry on with the show, yeah.
Wow.
Hashtag blessed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we've had we've had a text in about whatever happened to that I think is an enjoyable one. Actually, it might have been a tweet.
Yeah. From Uncle Eric.
Shall I give you the jingle first, and then you can just come in and complete the sentence?
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
like.
Here we go.
Whatever happened to...
Victorious tennis players jumping over the net.
Yeah.
What did happen
Yeah.
to that? It used to be absolutely a feature of the game.
Yeah.
I wonder if they've made some rules, like backstage.
Oh, do you think so?
I bet-
Backstage?
I bet-
It's not a gig. Backstage at
I
Wimbledon.
mean, it stopped, so it's fully stopped, hasn't it? So I
When
wouldn't
would
be
you
surprised.
say? When would you say it stopped? This is my guess when game.
Okay.
Becca?
Okay.
It's got to be Becca.
Beckham. Oh.
Becca.
Oh.
Boris.
I was going to say Jimmy Connors. He's very
Ooh.
jump over the net.
Yeah.
Are you
I
going back
can't-
Fred Perry, Frank?
I can't picture him jumping. I don't think they did it then, did they? I don't know. Did women do it?
No, women wouldn't do that silly Billy stuff. There was obviously Pat Cash, you see, Art Post Cash, I think all that business stopped. There was security nightmares.
I think even as a child, I looked upon it with dread. I think if I'd have been a tennis player, getting to say I'm 2 sets up, I'd start thinking, do I really want to win this? Then I'm going to have to jump. I'm going to jump the net. Do I want that in my life?
So I think in the changing rooms there's probably a dog-eared by now, bit of A4 paper, blue tacked up, just on their way out. Please don't jump over the net anymore if you win, because there's a danger of you falling, and also it could affect the setting of the net for the next match.
Well, it springs back, doesn't it? With ferocity, the net. Do you know what I mean?
I mean, you could be catapulted into row D.
Well, look, I have a memory, and I might be imposing something on Wimbledon that was from my own experience, but I imagine the middle part of the net's quite a bit lower than the edge.
Yes.
But I don't think that's true at Wimbledon, is it? I think they keep it quite taut.
Oh, somebody will tell us.
Yeah.
But it does look it.
I think you're thinking of those old school nets, Frank, with the puddle in the middle as well.
Oh,
I know those ones.
Do you think it just went out of fashion, maybe?
Oh, yeah.
I associate it. I know what you mean. I think it probably is a bit older than the Connors Beckett era. I think it's more the long socks in tennis and the plimsolls.
I don't think I think.
When do you think it was?
I reckon Stan Smith might have done it.
Good shout.
Great shout.
Arthur Ashe.
Yeah, maybe.
He might have done it.
Someone might know, Frank, of course.
But it has gone.
But Formula One drivers, when they're shaking up the bottle of champagne, do they ever think, we've done this to death, haven't we?
They should.
But they still do it.
Yeah.
And they squirt it on the others, and the others look a bit, I didn't see that coming. Why do they keep doing that?
Yeah.
Rubbish.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you something about tennis players. They are the worst packers I have ever seen. I mean, two bags for afternoon. What kind of packing is that?
Rubbish.
What is it when you see them leaving the court after a game? I saw somebody that had 3 bags.
Huge as well.
3 bags full, as the old...
And
What's
you're
in
right,
there?
the towels are just splayed everywhere.
Yeah, but they're getting the towels. It's like when you go on holiday, you don't take towels. They're going to be the towels at the hotel.
There's towels at Wimbledon.
We know that. What happened last week? Thanks, mate.
They don't have to bring towels or balls. They're all
they
there.
Definitely don't need to
bring a racket.
In fact, even if there weren't towels at Wimbledon, what they could do is lean across the umpire's stool and say to the other player, I forgot my towel. Can I borrow one of your towels? And
Someone would help you out, wouldn't they?
It's absolutely ridiculous. Who will be? Is the texting is who was the last winner to jump the net at Wimbledon?
It will be.
What about this one? Who will be the first player to have a bag on wheels?
A wheelie suitcase at Wimbledon.
It will come. It will come. It will surely come, as I think Brian Eno said in the King's Lead hat.
I don't like those wheelies. I used to love them, but I think it's a bit apprentice candidate / stripper.
Yeah,
I've gone off it.
I've not liked them.
Well, you're winning me over.
Yeah.
Also, I don't think I've seen a banana this year at Wimbledon.
No way. You haven't seen a banana at Wimbledon?
No.
I mean, that's a Wimbledon, near enough a trope, a cliché.
Well, I've watched a bit of Wimbledon. I haven't seen a banana.
You haven't?
Have you?
Have you seen any?
I don't think I've seen it, but I haven't seen much Wimbledon this year, so I just assumed the bananas were still happening.
Do they still drink Robinson's lemon bar?
No, I mean, they drink their own concoction, a lot of them. They sort of mix it up backstage.
I'll tell you what they do drink, Evian.
They love a bit of Evian.
Every interview, big bottle of Evian at the front, in front of the microphone.
In front,
Oh, they're paying top dollar.
Indeed. And a lot of them have those energy gels. Maybe that's why the banana's gone. You see them do that, the squishy, the hand.
Oh, it's replaced the banana?
I hope not, because,
Do you eat the energy gel?
You sort of... it's a combination of eat and slurp it, I suppose, because it's like a paste.
Oh, like slush puppy. I like that.
Kinda.
I imagine it's not as good for you as a banana.
I imagine that too, but you tell that to Novak Djokovic.
Tell that to the Marines.
Yeah.
Don't know why they say that. Also, I'd say something else that has suffered greatly at Wimbledon: handwriting.
Has it?
Because whenever somebody wins or loses a game, when they're leaving, I often think, oh, lovely, they're stopping to sign autographs. If you watch the actual signing process, they're basically... People have those big yellow balls. They get a pen and they just wave it in the they're basically shop soil.
Yeah.
Wimbledon merchandise. I can't believe there's anything resembling a signature on there. They just touch it with the pen.
Well, Frank, according to 383, the second bag is just to display the sponsor's logo. That's why they're always packed perfectly square.
You're joking. So it's just like polystyrene in there.
It's I'm going to use the word Potemkin. It's a Potemkin bag.
What's that mean?
Google it.
No.
I haven't got time. It's a long explanation.
Go on, tell
You're
us.
saying the battleship Potemkin wasn't really a battleship.
It's to do with it being faux and a decoy. That's what it's about.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
So is it just full of those, like, styrofoam ones that look like peanuts? You know, those...
Peanuts?
You know what I mean? Like monkey
Haven't
nuts,
had
but
that
made
for
of
a while.
styrofoam.
It's probably full of their shredded wheat promotional leaflets, so they don't have to sign any autographs on their way out.
And Tom says that regarding Formula One celebrations, there's a new trend starting amongst some of the younger drivers of drinking the bubbly out of one of their shoes
I've seen that.
instead.
It's the 18th century, out of a lady's slipper.
Except they don't. They use a sweaty racing shoe.
Oh, can you imagine the state of that?
Oh.
But don't they have holes in the toes?
Maybe that's-
James Hunt used to cut the toes out of his racing shoes.
Did he?
He'd have been no good on a... He might have made an ice cream sundae last for 5 minutes before it started to come through the hole. Well, no, I hadn't. When you think about it, the juxtaposition of drink and driving with the champagne, it's about time that was stopped.
Well, I suppose in a way they have finished their driving, so it's a good message. If they...
How are they going to get home?
Good point.
8, 12, 15.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
You know, we were discussing your owl girlfriend.
Oh, yeah. Well, I never said it was a girl. I'm gender fluid with the
Yeah,
owls.
he is.
It's a spectrum. 743 has texted, your owl girlfriend was a real head turner, which
It's
Lovely.
good. It's good. I
Excellent.
like it. We had a
Very
great
fun.
game of guess to woo. Oh, man. So,
So it's not just Emily that's bumped her knee this week. There's been other injuries in the media.
oh, yes, there has.
Did you see Rafa Nadal's...
Is that what they call him?
I don't know.
Oh.
Is it Rafa or Rafa?
I think with Spanish you can leave out almost any
You
consonant.
can do what you like.
Well, I know in Portuguese they don't say the r, they say h.
Right.
Yeah, but they
So in
say
Spanish and
Jose
Portuguese,
Mourinho.
Jose, they say,
Not
yeah.
Jose.
Oh,
They make it up.
that's a
these
different
people.
letter, isn't it?
There
I
is-
call him Rafa. I
Do you?
think a lot of people do in an affectionate way.
Anyway,
Yes.
he has a habit apparently. I didn't know this, of jumping up and down in the tunnel, as it were.
You know when he's pining for the victorious net leap.
Maybe he's getting warmed
Hey.
up, ready for it.
Do you know what? I did notice something about him. I've only just noticed. How can I put this delicately? He might need a Bee Gees hat soon.
Oh,
Do you
is
think-
it
It's all one of
starting
it,
to
Dave
go?
Stewart, Eurythmics.
Is it?
Have you not seen this?
Did not
I haven't
notice
noticed.
that.
Yeah. Okay, I'm just saying. Anyway, as you were.
We might need a bandage on that head soon because he
Well, he has got that.
absolutely
He's got that sort of
thwacks us.
Crimean War look with the head thing he
Headband,
wears.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Andre Agassi was a big fan, of course.
Well, he
of that.
and his hair.
yeah.
We know how that story ends.
Mr. Bump, Bull's a badger.
Yes. Anyway, Rafa, he was doing his jumping on the spot thing. And
Oh,
he
I hate
didn't,
it with him.
He didn't check his above head, and he did it and absolutely clumps his head on a door frame.
It's a very good. It's a very good clip. That I don't normally like a viral,
No,
but he has to do that.
Not
thing.
in your community.
No,
you've got to be careful.
he has to do a thing of. He couldn't rub his head because there
No.
was like security men.
He styled
watching
it out.
but he really clunked it.
Oh,
You could hear it. And the guy he was playing, is it Gilles Muller? He looked back as if out of concern. But
He just when he heard the noise,
Yeah.
he looked back because he heard the noise. That's how big a bang it was.
Yeah.
And he could have jumped anywhere else. There was just that one cross thing going across that he jumped underneath. The headline should have been Rafter Nadal.
Yeah.
oh, very fine work.
he, I
In
thought
fact, he actually had a headline, I think, afterwards. Sorry, I've gone through the pond ceiling.
Well, I thought also his reaction was very much... He went for... There are two reactions when you injure yourself. You either go for histrionics, which I favour, which is...
Yeah, exactly.
We noticed that in the last link when
Thank
you bumped
you.
your knee. Yeah.
Thank you for your input.
Yeah.
Or you go for... It's fine. It's hilarious. I'm laughing harder than anyone else.
Yeah, he did.
And
He
Rafa
laughed
went
way
there, which is
too
a very
hard.
sportsman thing to do.
Yeah.
The thing is with Rafa, I bet you, that day, I don't know if you watched the game, but he lost an epic 5-setter. The last set just went on forever, and eventually he lost. But when he lay in bed that night awake, I bet he wasn't thinking about the epic 5-setter. I bet he was thinking about, I can't believe I did that thing when I jumped under the...
You reckon?
Yeah, I bet that was a bigger deal than losing a
There's a
5-set.
theory it contributed to his eventual loss. There is a
Really?
theory.
What, a mild concussion?
Mild concussion.
What I wish he'd done afterwards is taken the headband and worn it vertically. Remember, like the old,
Laurel and Hardy.
the old toothache sufferers of yesteryear. That would have looked fantastic.
I love that band.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
So anyway, so we're talking about Rafa
Yeah.
and his injury. Why do they do that jumping up and down, these characters?
Get in the zone.
Oh,
Just
really?
Get in the zone.
Gets the old muscles loosened up, doesn't
Yeah.
it?
I mean, I don't know if you've noticed, but I do 45 minutes of jumping up and down from 7:15 until 8 when we start this show.
I thought you were just furious.
Yeah.
You did a bit during the last song because I didn't know what a rubber popper thing was.
It's just how I get in the zone, guys, and I don't think we should judge people that need that as part of their...
Well, I'm not judging him, but on your own head be it, mate.
And it was indeed.
Fantastic work. I think he handled it quite well. The idea that it affected... I mean, that game lasted about 7.5 hours. The idea that it affected that...
I don't know. I mean, a bump on the head.
Oh, no.
You do think about it all day, though, don't you? You do think about it all day if you bump your head. You think,
Well, I'm going to think about this leg all night. Frank and I
Of course, yeah.
got an engagement tonight, and that's all I'm going to be thinking about.
Well, you won't be thinking about your leg.
What about 982? He's texted in, or she, I've got the knockoff version of Guess Who. It's called Who's Who. It was £5 cheaper. Ha ha, hashtag thrifty.
love hashtag thrifty, can I just say?
Who's Who?
Yeah. Send us a picture of it. I want
Yeah.
to see what the characters are like.
Okay.
I think it's just a book, isn't it?
What, are they all a bit more kind of
Oh, is it a
unshaven?
joke that they've actually bought Who's Who?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I thought it was an actual... I fell for it
Oh.
completely.
I fell for it as well.
Did
I
you?
thought they were all wearing slightly ropier clothes and a bit unshaven, the characters. There you go. Oh, I believed them.
They're announcing the new Doctor Who, by the way, after the men's singles tomorrow.
Well, it's funny you should say that. We've had a
I
text
don't know.
from...
It's not my funniest thing I've said.
It's the funniest thing you've ever said on this show ever. 546 has
I believe
texted...
you said that.
Frank's not going to be at Wimbledon for any sort of announcement tomorrow, is he? People still think you're going to become the Doctor.
I don't think they're going to announce it at Wimbledon, no, are they? No one's going to come on. The Duchess of Kent isn't going to...
Yeah.
Maybe
But
she's the new
the regeneration will happen at Wimbledon.
That
If the
would be a
Duchess of
scoop.
Kent was the new Doctor Who, no one saw that coming.
She opened the envelope and went, the winner is me, like
Yeah.
people do.
And I shall be the new Doctor. It's not about... I'm working on the Duchess of Kent impression, but it's... I bet people switched on now thought Duchess of Kent's on Absolute. What's
You
going
don't
on
get
there?
much call for that, do you, in
No.
terms of your corporate gigs?
The Duchess of Kent impression.
Yeah.
It's one of those impressions that people know she is, but you could get away with more or less any voice.
Yeah.
I mean, you want to go posh, play safe.
Yeah.
Lovely 70s tan she's always got.
Has she really?
Yeah, yeah.
Never noticed.
Okay.
But you're probably unlikely to become the next Doctor, aren't you?
Why?
Because that kind of job could change a man, is that right?
No, that is right. But also, I don't think it'd be anyone my age.
You thought,
Really?
you don't-
No, I think they've just had the older guy. They've
An
done
up and
that.
comer. You think it's going to be a...
Yeah, but he's avoiding our eye contact while he's
He
saying
is.
that.
He is.
Now, I've arranged to do
I
something
think
with
it'll
Frank
be
later. Can
Good
you-
Morning Britain's Ben Shepherd is my prediction.
you?
Yeah.
Really?
I think that's unlikely. Also.
Have you got a prediction? I'm going Russell Grant.
Russell Grant?
Yeah.
Rusty Lee.
Rusty Lee.
There you go.
Good shout.
Yeah.
Sarah Lee.
Who's that?
Makes gatto.
Who?
Chocolate gatto. Did you not remember Sarah Lee's Black Forest gatto? Oh.
I didn't know her that well. So anyway, I've been given a note that says 30 seconds.
Is it your marching orders?
Yeah, I think it's a P45 now, I realise.
It was nice knowing you.
P45. People still get a P45?
Whatever happened
they?
to? Yes, I think they do.
Sorry to hear that. If you've got one, if you've got one this week, condolences. Our thoughts are with
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Breaking news.
When I went out for the hour, I can't remember what her night rates were. Carry on. Breaking news.
Breaking news. Who's Who is a genuine game.
See, we weren't fooled.
I didn't.
Al was looking for a joke that wasn't there.
Well, story of
How
my
often
life at
does
the
that,
moment.
eh?
And I had to flag
no.
that up because 055 has said, hey guys, my mate had the cheap version of Hungry Hungry Hippos when we were kids. It was called Peckish Peckish Penguins.
Oh.
I don't think Hungry Hungry Hippos has got two hungries, has it? Isn't it just Hungry Hippos?
Okay. Maybe it's just hungry.
And also, maybe it was. Was it prohibitively expensive that there should be a knockoff penguin game?
Oh, if you're saying that, we
Well,
are
I
in
know.
trouble.
Hungry Hippos?
Yeah.
It's extortionate.
I don't want it to sound like... Also, we've had some wisdom texted in. 329 has texted. Frank,
Yeah.
P45, not always a bad thing. Can just be changing jobs.
That's true, of course.
I like the Mr. Miyagi type. When one door closes, another one opens.
Yeah, no,
vibe that,
I like
we're getting
that.
from
It's
that.
a good point. I associate it with rejection.
Yeah.
In my own brief experience.
With the old
in the
marching
real world.
orders, yeah.
Oh, yes. What else?
Well, I'll tell you what else. We've talked about Rafa's injury. And
Rafa.
in other glamorous injuries,
Oh, yeah.
a couple attempted to do the dirty dancing dance.
Oh,
They were doing it as a potential wedding dance because
Yeah.
it's very popular. Are you familiar with the dance that I mean?
No.
I've had the time of my life.
I know the song.
I know, I
It's a
was just
song-
telling you that.
Emily was just beginning a resignation speech.
I was waiting for my P45.
I don't think any woman's ever said that to me before. I don't. I know the song. It is a song that makes me laugh every time I hear it. I have no
Why?
idea why. I find it intrinsically comic. That song.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
I laugh when they refer to the urgency. I don't know, that makes me laugh in a song. But Sharon and Andy Price, their names are, and they were rehearsing this for their wedding dance because they go viral, these.
So Sharon and Andy Price are not married.
Oh.
Oh, well, I've called them. I think they might be now because maybe the
No,
news
I
has
think
come
they're
out
getting
now.
married. I think they're
Oh,
on
good
their way
point. So
to it.
maybe it's not
They're
Sharon and Andy Price.
obviously wedded to that headed notepaper they've got.
So,
So they're marrying someone with the same surname. Keep it simple.
I don't know.
well, she's called Sharon and he's called Andy Price. I may be lumping them
right.
together.
Yeah.
But anyway, they did this. They were practicing the performance, and someone was taking a picture, handily,
Yeah.
and just saying. And they knocked into each other, Frank, and they were rendered unconscious.
Wow.
Yeah. And then they had to go to hospital.
So just for a change, the prices went down.
Very good.
Lovely.
I like it.
Lovely.
Very good.
He had a price on his head.
Yeah.
You were trying to recreate it in a beer garden. It was a pub beer garden.
Did she drive the price down? I have seen this story, and what worries me is there are photographs which you suggest it was set up.
I just
Why
felt it looked a bit
isn't that?
staged.
There's no moving pictures.
Yeah.
Yes.
When I say moving pictures, I feel like one of those people who do a speech at the Oscars. The moving picture industry.
Yeah. Are you
There's
saying...
no, if you were going to try that out in a field, surely you'd video it. I mean, this is 2017 when people video themselves. Well,
Oh, yeah.
never mind.
Yeah.
People video everything. Why didn't they video that?
Good question. Are
Come on.
you saying moving pics or it didn't happen? Is that what you're saying? Because
I'm just saying.
pics or it didn't happen is a thing already.
The idea. Look, if I said to you, Al,
Yeah.
me and Emily are going to recreate the dance from Dirty Dancing.
Yeah.
Right. come along.
I'm already getting my phone
You're
out.
getting your phone,
Yeah.
of course you are. Of
And
course you
this
are.
is only hypothetical, but
My
God.
lion waist and Kardashian rear. I mean,
Yeah.
it's all going to kick off.
I've got my doubts about the whole thing.
Have
I'm
you?
going to take
Well-
the prints of this and of these pictures, and I'm going to put maybe in the corner.
Wow. Well, Frank, I'll tell
It's
you
a
what.
Dirty Dancing joke.
I got it.
No, you'd video it. You'd
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
video it.
Also, did you see the picture of them unconscious?
Yeah,
Those quotes. It looked a bit like when Buzz is doing a school play
right.
and pretending to sleep.
know, it
you know
did
when the
look
kids
like-
pretend to sleep?
I know they said that people came round and all that, the ambulance, but there's no pictures of that, I notice.
Can I also
He had
say...
to be cut out of his top. Why
That
did he have
felt
to
a
be
bit-
cut out of his
Yeah,
top?
I felt like that was slight body shaming. That,
Oh, was it?
They just cut him out of
Maybe
his
it's just a
t-shirt. Like, why
horrible
do they
top.
keep mentioning that in the story?
If
Sorry to laugh so nastily.
If it was a really horrible top and somebody, it could have just been a passing, fashionista.
I would have done that.
That would be quite a good job for a really snooty fashionista who's a paramedic.
Yeah.
Just got a sore ankle and they chop your top off.
No, well, look, forgive me but I just don't.
Were you a
there's
bit
something
cynical
very-
about it? I
yes.
was a bit, Frank. How about you, El?
I'm a bit cynical about it too, but also I think we shouldn't stifle the joy of pretending to be asleep because that is a really
Oh,
fun
But
thing to
isn't
do.
it odd, though? You'd think unconscious is a fairly easy thing to pull off. But the
Yeah.
first time I saw the picture, I thought, they look a bit stage unconscious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's like a Doctor Who extra from 1963, just been shot. You see, I met themselves comfortable in the background. Going to be down here for a bit. I'll just. So he asked her to marry him.
Yeah.
So you could say she agreed to the asking price.
Very good.
Lovely.
We'll leave it there.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
And that slam at the door was Emily Dean returning to
Well,
the
I'm
studio.
sorry.
You don't have to.
It was a bit late.
No, you're fine. I
Thought
think
there was
you've
ads
made it,
afterwards.
you made it just right.
So Bars made a Spider-Man dream catcher this
Did
week.
he?
It's never occurred to me that they have themed dream catchers.
No.
I've always just seen the standard, Native American feathers, beads, bit of netting. You're off.
Did it?
Yeah, he made one with Spider-Man on.
So is it for catching dreams about Spider-Man, or is it?
Well, I wondered if it
it's
could
very
be
specific.
spider dreams, because I don't know about you,
Oh.
I've had a few horrible spider dreams in my time.
Yeah.
Some of them when I've been awake and under, basically poisoned by alcohol. But it's a darker anecdote I don't want to go into on breakfast radio. But I've had several dreams about spiders. And I
Yeah.
suppose it would also say radioactivity-based dreams. You ever had any of those?
No.
I don't think I've had a
I
radioactive.
don't have those ones.
My dreams I'd say my dreams were isotope heavy,
Are they?
generally speaking.
Right.
So it's I've become fascinated by the dream catcher. He's already got a dream catcher.
Good.
A Native American Route 1 dream catcher.
Right.
And now he's got the Spider-Man. I'm wondering if there might be a market in this of doing different types of, like being in public with no clothes on based dream
Oh,
catchers.
that would be quite a common. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I noticed an anomaly.
Rihanna, does Rihanna have those? Does Rihanna dream
Yeah.
that she's in public fully clothed?
Yeah, terrible anxiety dreams.
Oh, God, I was in the supermarket and I got, jeans and a sweatshirt on. Oh, God, when I woke up.
Or maybe.
That was my Rihanna impression, by the way. Still a bit of work.
Sounds a bit like John Inman. I
Work in
liked it.
progress.
Maybe what happened for Rihanna was that, 10 or 15 years ago, she had that anxiety dream of being naked in public and thought it was a premonition. And then
Maybe she thought, I'm
Yeah.
going to tackle this with aversion therapy.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'll just wear Nout forever.
I had a strange moment in a
That's
dream.
what she said.
I had a strange moment in a dream the other day that, and I know
Are we
people
doing proper dreams now?
No, I think we should.
Just,
and we have occasionally dipped our toe in the water of discussing dreams, and I always quite enjoy it.
No, I know. I've got a good one about a shark and some bubble gum coming up.
Well, I had this thing that happened the other day.
Mine are all stuck in the net, I'm afraid.
Do you know when you have a dream and there's somebody in it, but they're not in it as themselves? They're in it just... I basically dreamt...
You need a Mike Yarwood dream catcher.
I had a dream where there was an old man outside. I was in a hotel bathroom and I was washing my hands.
Yeah.
And then there was an old man as I walked past, but it's an old man that I know. I don't want to say their name.
Hold on, is it me?
No.
Okay.
But let's use you as an example. You know, like if the film credits of the dream came up
Well, don't
and it
use him
said...
as an example. It's going to cause a terrible atmosphere.
But now you've mentioned it, we can do
Okay.
that. If it said at the end of my dream, old man played by Frank Skinner, but you're not in there as Frank Skinner, you're just in there as sort of random old man. Have you had this in a dream where it's...
I think I'm back to the Robert Popper.
Sorry.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text the show on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, email the show via the Absolute Radio website. Shouldn't have tried that in one breath at my age. Anyway,
We've been gathering excuses for being late, and we've just had a message. I was late returning to work after my lunch break, and after 4 minutes of being late, you had to write your reason in a book. I wrote held up in bank. I was called to HR. I think some of you might have seen this coming. Asked to explain myself as they were under the impression there had been a bank raid, and I said no, there was just a queue.
I like that, and I also like the quite 70s use of raid.
Yes.
You don't often hear raid often these days.
no, do they? Yeah, you probably do when they talk about bank things, don't you?
Someone else has texted in 445. My best excuse for being late was when I was 18. I told work the reason I was late was because the cat had turned the digital alarm off. It got a laugh, but it was true. That really did happen. There you go.
These are all worth keeping in your
In the
back
repertoire.
pocket.
in your light bank.
The problem is that I have almost no imagination, and I'm so rarely late
Come on.
that when I am late, I just blurt out the truth, which is, I'm sorry I'm late, I didn't set off early enough.
That's a poor one.
But that,
Yeah.
I mean, that is a catch-all for all lateness, isn't it? That's
I don't know,
always the reason.
I was in a car once that was hit by a bus on my way to a thing. I
Yeah.
couldn't wait to get there to tell them why I was late. Because we got hit by a bus is such a great...
Even that, I still think is...
Well, I recently bought a piece of, I'm going to say artwork, but that sounds a bit grand. It's just some sort of poster thing. It says, I'm sorry I was late, I didn't really want to come.
perfect.
And that's true, often.
That's a good lateness excuse.
I'll tell you who we haven't discussed, though, in some time, and I'm a bit distressed by this, because he's one of my favourites.
Is it Ludwig Kennedy?
No, Ludo gets the odd mention, Frank.
Okay, I suppose.
As my father called him, Ludo. Simon Cowell.
Oh,
Oh, yes.
You know he's one of my favourites.
I'm
Is he a
very
friend of the show?
interested in him.
Simone?
I don't know if he's a man I associate with friends. I think I think he's a man who has employees
Yeah.
who have to laugh a lot around him.
Yes.
So
Or
a bit
do
like
they?
those.
I mean, he
He
doesn't
is.
really offer much for laughter, does he?
No,
So-
but I you know what I mean.
Oh, have
he
you seen
does-
his hair?
If he does, his hair now. as
Is it
it's-
still black shredded ree, as you
Well,
called
it's
it?
greying a little, and he's still got that weird centre part. You remember I said quite a while ago on this show that if I was film critic Mark Kermode,
Yeah.
who had his enormous quiff, I would have a tiny figure of a surfer that I wore on a hair grip just on the crest of the wave.
Nice.
Yeah.
If I was Simon Cowell, I would have at the beginning of the centre parting, I would have a small model of Moses banging a staff maybe on the ground, and then the hair parting like the Red Sea.
Very good.
Hair parting. He was in a hello, hello, I believe.
Yes, I think he was.
Should I cut the way I say hello,
So,
hello, and not hello, hello?
Yeah.
What small figures would you like to see augmenting celebrity hair? 8, 12, 15.
I like the fact Moses is getting more airtime in this show.
Moses, that's his second mention of the day.
Yeah.
Moses with you. He was in, Simon Cowell was in Thorpe Park,
Yeah.
and he was
knew?
holding the X Factor auditions.
Thought Park.
No,
That'd be a good name for a sort of a more highbrow theme park.
That would be
Thought
good.
Park.
More like Bletchley.
Where you
That would be
sit on non-moving rides, and they just make interesting suggestions or philosophical debates.
Yeah, that would
Snow
be good.
is white is true if and only if snow is white. And you just sit and think about it and say, "Oh man," you'd probably picture of you throwing your hands in the air when you have quite a good thought.
You see, I'd go to Thorpe Park.
I would as
Yeah,
well.
I'd
Because
love it.
roller coasters and theme parks make me sick.
Yeah.
Not as in the action of being on them, but just the concept of them. Because
Yeah.
I find them so mindless. But,
Oh dear.
sorry, but I do.
Mr. Thorpe is listening. And Jeff Alton.
Yeah. Do you think they're both
The towers magnet.
What about Monsieur Chessington?
Do you think either of these people are scribbling down Thought Park, philosophers?
I hope so. I hope they do, yeah.
I hope they're thinking I'm having that.
What about when I went to... it may have been Thorpe Park. Where's Ramesses' Revenge? I look to you for this.
Well,
Alan.
I think...
I don't
He
know.
knew Moses, I think.
I ended... Are you going to take us out of the link
No,
now?
I just want to hear about Ramesses' Revenge.
Okay, can
it
I
sounds like a stomach problem that you get when you eat in Egypt.
Well, no, I ended up, Frank, inadvertently on a photo call with Boyzone
Wow.
on the ride. Someone has got the picture somewhere. I got
Yeah.
on the
Brilliant.
ride. I didn't know they'd all got on, and I was on the end. And then I lost my shoe.
I'll tell you where it wasn't then. It wasn't Thorpe Park.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So we were talking about Thorpe Park.
And Simon Cowell, indeed.
Yeah. And there was an incident,
There was.
essentially, involving a golf buggy.
Yes.
Do you know
Yeah.
about this, boys?
Yeah. They were driving around in a golf buggy, the people from the X Factor.
So Simon Cowell's driving. He's got Nicole Scherzinger sitting next to him, and
Yeah.
in the back, Louis Walsh and Sharon Osbourne.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
And there's a lot of
sounds-
at everything Simon says.
Yeah.
Simon says. It is basically Simon says. You have to do it when Simon says, otherwise don't do it.
I think he was probably smoking one of his menthol cigarettes as well whilst driving the golf buggy.
Well, guess what?
Wow.
He was wearing cowboy boots, bootcut jeans,
White
and
open neck
a
shirt?
white neck shirt.
Yeah.
And everything to me looked like Louis Walsh had been kidnapped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Louis Walsh is the one who's thinking, I don't want to go to Thorpe Park. Simon will let me go on all the really scary rides on my own.
Is he the James May of the band?
I think
Yeah.
he is.
Yeah.
He
There's
just
always
looks a
one.
bit... Because the other ones are quite loud and confident.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Louis sort of, oh, stop pinching me, Simon.
Apparently Simon was in a wild mood and he wanted them all to get ice cream sandwiches.
No, he wanted to go on the Oscar Wilde ride at Thorpe Park. The Ballad of Reading Jail corkscrew. What a night that was.
Yes, indeed. But Simon being in a wild mood manifests itself in him driving a golf buggy with 3 bullied members of staff in it to find an ice cream sandwich. And
What is an ice cream sandwich?
Yeah, I struggled
when
with
he
this.
said we're going to have an ice cream sandwich. I bet Louis thought, oh my God, what does that mean?
I struggled with this. I find the idea of someone as powerful as Simon Cowell going to get his own ice cream sandwich
I
just
know.
unbelievable. I feel like, it's
What
someone's
is an
job.
ice cream sandwich?
I
Is
don't
it
know.
actual
Is it-
sandwich with ice cream? That sounds disgusting.
Not with bread. I think it's probably wafers, isn't it? On
Is
the
it one of
inside?
those
He'll
ones
be on
where
the slimsier bread.
instead of a cornet, you sort of get... It looks like someone's folding up a brassiere and put ice
like-
cream in it.
I
Is it
think
one
that
of
might be
those?
like an oyster. That sounds
Yeah,
like
he's
an
got
oyster.
an oyster. He's getting confused with oyster.
No, and there's no ice cream
No,
in an
not-
oyster.
No, it is oyster you're
Not a
thinking.
real oyster.
Frank,
You could have one. You could call it an oyster.
Oh, very good. You are good at naming stuff.
Oh, I'll tell you,
I'll give you that.
There's businessmen just listen to this show with a notepad in their hand.
We've often talked about what we're good at. Mine's tiptoeing. Emily's
That's mine.
getting stains out of stuff.
Oh, I'm so good at getting stains out of
Mine
stuff.
is names for new business.
Naming stuff.
Yeah.
As you know, I came up with GAP. What a meeting that was.
But I feel like there's a member of staff somewhere that if Simon Cowell wants an ice cream and he clicks his fingers, if it isn't there within 9 minutes, they have to get a new job.
Yeah, you'd think so.
I just don't understand why he's getting in a golf
imagine
buggy.
that they spoon it to him.
They just feed him.
Of course, I had a terrible experience with Nicole Scherzinger. Do you remember that?
Did you?
I had never heard of
He's worked for them all.
Yeah, I'd never heard of the concept of the chest bump.
Oh.
So we were doing something. I had to do I
remember this.
think it was a Johnny Cash song, and I did it. She said, "Oh my God, you're channeling Johnny Cash. Chest bump." And she jumped at me. I had no idea what it meant. And she jumped at me, and I grabbed her. And she arrived in chest bump position. Then she went limp on me. Because obviously she wasn't supposed to. She must have thought I was some grim
Lifeless
opportunist.
So you hugged her like you were on Strictly or something.
I caught her mid chest bump and I held her there. Like I was following a shoplifter.
I've had the time of my life.
Yeah, exactly. I was a have-a-go hero. I think she thought I was just holding on tight for that extra imprint. Oh dear, that was awful.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Is there a more humiliating mode of transport than the golf buggy, do you think?
Do you think that Nicole Scherzinger said after that incident, is there a more humiliating mode of transport than Frank Skinner?
Good point.
But do you think the golf buggy, would you say it was as humiliating as the Segway, for example?
Oh, good point.
I've had some great times in a golf buggy.
Have you?
I've had some great times on a Segway. I haven't.
No.
Have you driven a golf buggy ever?
Oh, yes, several times.
Have you, Frank?
Well, I had my own version of this when I was on a golf buggy with Nicky Clark, Annika Rice and Koo Stark.
Oh.
And David Baddiel as well.
Hang on, was that from the Loch Ness premiere?
It was, yeah.
Oh,
We were on the grounds of Skibo Castle the next day.
I didn't know there was golf buggies involved.
Yeah, I was. We were going around with that. I mean, that was my version, really, of the.
Yeah.
They were the stars of the day.
They were. I just think they often, as indeed in your anecdote, the golf buggy, it's often driven by somebody who, outside of the golf buggy, can afford a nice car and is a very powerful individual. And then you see them like Donald Trump spinning around in a golf buggy. And it just feels a bit
Donald
humiliating.
Trump's put me off the golf buggy a bit.
There's been a lot of American presidents like in films of golf buggy. Isn't there a funny bit of footage of George Bush driving in circles in one?
Well, I tell you, what about when I was at the Big Chill? Do you remember that?
Extraordinary.
It's a festival.
I know it is.
It's a frozen food festival.
This guy invited me and he said, we'll put the tent up for you before you arrive and all that. And
Right,
when I arrived, he said, where have you parked? And I said, he said, oh, OK, you could have parked nearer. We had a car space for you. He said, but don't worry, I'll take a golf buggy and go and get your luggage. And I said, oh, can I go? Because I thought I'd go to drive a golf buggy, that'd be a laugh. So I went and got it, and I left it in left it in gear or something. And so when I got off, I unloaded it. He said, OK, well, I'm off now. And he got on it, and it did a U-turn and went straight across this tent.
Whoa!
Now, it was the zip was down on this tent. I mean, I don't know why. My first thought was that there was a really big dog in it. That was what I imagined, like a Irish wolfhound, and I imagined him going over that. But I mean, there could have been people, sleeping babies, anything.
Oh,
Could have been all
Anyway,
sorts.
he couldn't stop. He kept going. So this bloke came out of the adjoining tent and said, "What are you doing?" And he said, I'm just, I can't get the... And this bloke actually said, stop driving on my tent. And it turned out, when he finally switched it off, the bloke was a disc jockey. Do I still call him that?
Oh, well, we can call them what we like.
He was the disc jockey, and that was all his decks and everything were in the tent. And he ground them like coffee. And it was
Stop driving
terrible.
on my tent, Frank. It's still my coconuts.
And he was apologising profusely as he still drove round and round on it. That was so terrible. And I remember Kath had to go into our empty tent in order to laugh. She was laughing so much. I looked in, I could see her on the floor in ecstasy, rolling about on the floor, laughing at these incidents. Oh dear! So I don't know what I did to her girl. Be careful if you're on one today.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Okay.
I believe we're at Thorpe Park with Simon Cowell and his compatriots.
Someone said,
Compatriots.
740 says you do give Simon Cowell a lot of hair time.
That's very good.
I think that might be Ian Engel making a return to the pun repertoire. Strong
And people
word.
are telling us what ice cream sandwiches are.
Go on, what are they?
Well, they just explain. I mean,
Is it repeatable?
yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
What did you think it
I had
was?
a feeling it was a euphemism. It just sounds like one.
Well, I
Sorry.
don't know if I can name the product, but am I allowed to name products?
Yeah,
Well, I'm going
so.
to.
They do it on the adverts
Okay,
all the time.
Oreo do a lovely ice cream sandwich. And
Oh, Oreo.
It's soft biscuit with ice cream in between.
Oh, it's one of those.
Do you know those ones?
Oh, I like an Oreo.
With ice cream in between.
No, just standard, the white stuff
Yeah.
in between the black biscuit.
Yeah, love it.
Nice.
So it's a bit strange. I mean, they're filming this thing at Thorpe
Don't
Park.
send me any, by the way. It wasn't one of those send me some free Oreos. Stick
Oh.
your Oreos.
But yeah,
Carry on.
They'd be really soggy as well if it was the ice cream ones.
Yeah.
It's a bit strange that he goes to Thorpe Park to film
No,
it.
well, I think that there's a big dual promotion type. I think him and Sharon pretended that they banged heads recreating a
Oh, yeah.
dance from Footloose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Do you think that at any point Nicole thinks these are just business people? Why am I hanging around with these?
Yeah.
I'm talent.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
Hanging
Yes,
around
they
with
are
three-
all business people, aren't they? They're all
business-
managers.
They're business people.
Do you think she feels like a player manager at football for that period?
I'm like when Glenda Hoddle used to unzip the tracksuit occasionally.
No, but it's like me going on holiday with, the boss of our price. Or something like that.
I wonder how his holidays are doing.
Probably
Our
not,
price
probably not
prices.
so well.
Or her.
Perhaps
Yeah.
he's organising the Price's wedding.
Yeah. They'll have got onto those sponsorship deals.
Yeah.
I have to say, she's very beautiful, Nicole.
She is.
And I've sat next to her
And you've caught
a
her in
long
your
period
arms.
of time, and I've held her in my
Been up
arms.
close. I held her in my arms. Sounds a bit
Yeah.
Rocky
romantic.
baby.
I held her in my arms.
I have to say, and I think it's all right to say, she's one of those beautiful women who is so textbook beautiful
Right.
that I actually got a bit bored about halfway through her face.
Oh, right.
Really?
You know what I mean? I sort of didn't. I didn't cover the whole face with my look.
What, the symmetry was just a bit
It's
repetitive.
just a bit. It's like a photo fit. She's very beautiful, but I like a bit more of an adventure.
Right.
Oh, okay.
If
Over
you
Hill
take-
and Dale.
This year I spent, Dale Winton, good example. Katie Hill,
Yeah. Both good examples.
who I think championed the dress with trainers. I think she was
She
first.
follows the Nazarene as well.
Does she?
One of yours, Frank,
Oh
yeah?
I don't think he follows the Nazarene.
Hill or
Who, Dale
Schwarzenegger.
Winton?
Maybe into a nightclub. I've lost my bearings there. Oh, I spent 8 hours trying to remember Scarlett Johansson's name the other night.
Oh, yeah.
That's what happens when you get to my age. And I won't look it up, of course. I will not Google.
No.
I watched Ghost in the Shell, and then after I thought, it's amazing, that film. And I thought, and then I couldn't remember her name. And so I waited. And then she has got a face. See, she's
a
very,
stunner.
She's very attractive, but she's got a nose that goes a bit more than you expect.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a little bit of a diversion, and that's what you want.
Yeah.
This is my Frank Skinner on beauty. It's a new.
So is this, Frank, the flaw in the Persian rug you're referring
Maybe.
and
to?
that's what you want. You want a little bit of something. You want the David Beckham lopsided mouth. You want that.
Something you don't expect.
Yeah, exactly. A surprise on a face.
Oh.
Yeah, there you go. I'm glad I got that off my chest. That's what Nicole Scherzinger said after I let her go.
Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We've had a text that I'd like to bring to your attention, guys, from 245. Frank, I went to see Tears for Fears, Elbow and The Killers play in Hyde Park last Saturday. I saw that advertised, sold out, looked a good lineup. There was a guy sat near us in a full WBA kit, I should explain, West Bromwich Albion,
Yeah?
Frank's
Come on.
team of choice.
A full kit.
Full WBA
It was
kit,
hot as
socks
well.
and all, and then he had quite a hot day for all that polyester.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Innit?
I don't. You have to ask Adidas about what it's made from.
Well,
But
Respect.
that's weird. I wonder. There is Jonas Olsen, who is, I think, has now left the club,
right.
but is a big music fan. He might think, well, I've got all these kits left over. I don't play
Yeah.
for them anymore.
Huh?
While I'm in between clubs, before he's signed for a next club, or has he just stepped away from football?
I don't know. The minute they leave the club, they don't exist, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
Favourite food steak?
But what about that? I remember
Yeah.
Gaza once went on, I think, the Danny Baker show in his full England kit just after a match. Still a bit muddy.
Did he?
Yeah.
Oh, I like
But
that.
that is a strange thing.
Well, I didn't see him
And quite a long way from home as well.
because, can I say, I was at that gig.
You were there?
I went to the Killers.
Were you wearing full West Bromwich Albion kit?
Imagine if
That
I
must
was.
be
Like
great.
a ladette from
That
the
would be
90s,
awful
Frank.
if this texter in us said there was a guy. and it's,
Like Joe Guest, like some sort of Joe Guest figure.
Yeah, exactly.
I went to the Killers.
Okay.
I managed to wangle quite good. I mean, I'm going to say it was golf buggy level access.
excellent.
I got Artists Village, which
Oh.
is very good. Artists Village, you know when you get those passes and they're all kind of papery and you can't take
There's a
them off.
lot
Oh,
of
yeah.
people listening to this saying no.
Yes, you do, because you get those passes for everything.
Yeah.
It's not just Artists Village at the Killers. You get them for normal parties
Yeah.
as well.
I
Okay?
don't know. I don't go to things like that anymore.
Kids' parties, you even get them.
Those ones where they have to be careful because if they stick it on, they can take your arm hair. If it
Exactly.
goes- yeah,
You know the
I know
ones?
exactly what you mean.
So I'm in Artists Village.
Brilliant.
Killers are all milling around. I wanted food. I had food on my mind, and I know they have good catering.
It would have been
Yeah.
worse if the Millers had been all killing around.
Yeah.
Well, I believe they follow the Nazarene, the Killers.
Killers?
The Killers?
Yes.
No
they've
way.
picked a strange title, have they not? the thou shalt not in brackets. Killers.
I think they're Mormons. I think one of them is.
Are they?
But yeah,
I know
yeah.
nothing about the Killers.
Well, I know quite a lot now. One thing is that the backstage catering is first class,
Is it?
but I couldn't get any because I didn't have the right pass.
Oh, no.
So I saw this food. It was
Wrong
cucumber
wristband.
water with striped straws. You know when it's all lovely. There was meat. There were
you're not
cheese
drawing
balls.
me in. I'm not thinking,
Meat and cheese balls?
Meat and cheese, I'm in.
A bit Henry VIII?
Not
They
with
sound
my
great.
regime.
Okay, well,
I don't want to end up weighing like an eagle.
They're
It
very
looks
fit.
so
They
nice.
fit with my regime, though. Meat
Yes,
and
you would
cheese.
have liked it.
Primal.
So I'm looking at the food. I think I want to get one of those. I didn't have the right pass. I went up there. I said, please, can I have something to the woman? Said, I'm sorry to have the right pass. I was so humiliated. So I went up to the killer's mum because I thought she might be
They
able to
just
help
got
me.
one mom.
No, it was one. It was the drummer's mother, I believe.
Oh, that's what they call the Killers. It's actually a family name. Steve Killer,
It's a surname.
Phyllis Killer.
Phyllis Killer.
Yeah.
And I said, is there any way you could help me? And she was from Las Vegas, wonderful woman.
Yeah, sure can, sweetheart. Did she say
She did
that?
talk a bit like that.
Yeah.
She said, honey, leave her with me. Leave her with me. So she went up to a woman and she said, can you give Emily, here's a laminate. Here's a laminate, honey. So I put the laminate on. I went up. I said, excuse me. They said, that's not going to get you a meal. You need a meal ticket. Well, I've been saying that all my life, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have a meal ticket. What was I going to do?
But leave it there on a cliffhanger.
Excellent.
Was he there?
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
We were discussing Emily's attending a music concert with an excellent lineup, and what I love about Absolute, where real music matters, is that we're discussing the catering.
Yeah. What was the lineup again?
Killers,
Elbow.
Elbow,
Tears
Tears
for
for Fears,
Okay.
and a few others.
Yeah,
Et al.
yeah.
So I'm
You were
backstage.
that hungry.
I'm backstage trying to find a meal ticket, which is what they call groupies now.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to find a meal ticket, and I I couldn't get one. I tried twice. These women recognised me by this point, and they were saying, "No, I've told you. You haven't got."
No, it's not what I've told you.
Oh.
It was "I've told you," and also the fact that it was food. I felt a bit embarrassed, and so I found the killer's mum, and she gave me this laminate. They turned down the killer's mum's laminate, which is bad.
Yeah, outrageous.
Did it say "Mom" on the laminate? It should, shouldn't it?
It should do. So I spoke to the killer's girlfriend.
And she said he was always such a quiet bloke.
She gave me a laminate.
The
wasn't
killer's
working.
girlfriend.
No, this was one of the girlfriends.
I know they're Mormons, but
No, this was the drummer's girlfriend. It was lovely. I couldn't get it. So eventually, I just wouldn't give up, Frank. I mean, the gig was
Good for
about
you.
to start, and I wanted feeding. I needed feeding. I was like a lion. Eventually, I did find someone. She managed to get me this slip of paper. I went running down there. I was brandishing it. I said, "I've got the meal ticket. I've got the meal ticket." It was so embarrassing. And you know what? They burst into applause. The staff, the catering staff.
Lovely.
They clapped. They went, "Well done!"
Oh, that is good.
And then I just sat there and ate for a good 45 minutes.
What about the killers playing?
No, I
in the
watched the
distance?
Killers play. They were marvellous.
Well, you've got to say, I don't know you've ate their food.
I love the fact you sat there and ate for 45 minutes. It sounds like the sort of story I tell. I
This is
tried
why I
really
don't
hard
go
and
to
then I
film
got food.
premieres
The
anymore.
gig was super duper. We
You've gotta say
watched
that.
it in the treetops. It was lovely.
Once you've had someone's gatto, you've got to praise them.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
That's what you said about Sarah Lee earlier, isn't it?
Yeah, it's true.
Really. Anyway, thank you so much for listening this morning, and bring on the feathers.
You're listening to the Frank Skinner podcast from Absolute Radio. Want your Frank fix a little sooner? Listen live every Saturday from 8 a.m. on Absolute Radio. Across the UK on digital radio, mobile apps, and in London and the South East on 105.8 FM.
Absolute Radio.